Hey, what's up? Hello. It's November 6th at 9:04 a.m. and it's been a super stressful week, but I'm back. And this time in a new background too. Anyways, it's the beginning of the 9th week at Dartmouth, which means in less than 2 weeks I get to go home. And don't get me wrong, this place is amazing, but sometimes you just have to take a break from school. Literally. But before I leave, I got this killer recount month for you all because I was actually prepared this time and filmed throughout the month rather than in the last like 2 weeks. So enjoy. Like I said, it's been a hellish week because I had 3 tests this week and 2 of them were like back to back, plus a lot of just procrastinated projects and like research studies I signed up to participate in. So that means a lot of time in the library for me to focus. And I spent so much time in the library that I couldn't even celebrate Halloween because I had a test the next day. It's 1 a.m. on literally Halloween and I am still out here. Which was a bummer, but that's okay. So usually library is the study place, but of course being at Dartmouth, things have to get switched up once in a while.
Many of you will not need to be reminded, but some, the younger among you, the inheritors of his master strokes for freedom.
Let me just talk to you a little bit about how the library works in Dartmouth. So there are basically 4 levels of the library, and the first level, which is where I'm usually at, is first floor Barry, or it's called FFB. And this is a place where like people work, but they're also like social, so sometimes it gets really loud. But it's like a good place to work because you're like with other people, and I guess that kind of motivates you more than if you were in your dorm and really quiet. And then as you move up in levels, it gets quieter and quieter at each level. And when you get to 4FB or 4th floor Barry, literally breathing is too loud. I've been up there like a couple of times when I really needed to focus and when FFB was just super loud. But the thing with it being so quiet is that I get so drowsy because it's also warm, and that's counterproductive. So I don't usually go up there, but I did find this gem of a place that I used like once, and it's in the Stacks. So the Stacks is like this building within a building, and from the outside it kind of looks like a jail cell. And also, like, if you're on the first floor, people can see you studying, which is just uncomfortable. But there are other levels, which I discovered, and if you go down into the basement, it's like super cool, and it's like quiet but not sleep-inducing quiet. So that's like my focus place now. And honestly, the journey down into the basement is the best part because it's an adventure in itself, and you feel like Harry Potter going down into the restricted section of the library, even though it's not restricted at all. So when we talk about October, we have to talk about fall. And fall at Dartmouth is a really beautiful thing because you actually see the leaves change color, and I've never seen that before. And every single photo you take is photogenic, and it's amazing. It also involves a lot. For example, they greatly amped up the food, like during Harvest Dinner or Harvest Festival, where I greatly indulged in the free samples there. My cheese!
Every point you saw me, every point. One bite.
Are you ready?
No!
I also started getting ready for the harsh winter by exploiting my Amazon Prime 6-month free trial. Trust me, getting packages is the best feeling in the world. I got packages and it's the best thing. And honestly, it's probably not that big of a deal, but when you're super stressed and you have like this little present for yourself, sometimes you just have to treat yourself. And of course, when you talk about fall, you have to talk about the weather. And yes, it's the same drill. The weather is bipolar. It's the middle of October and we're going negative already. But I have to give it a little credit because in the middle of October, just when I was getting ready to go to bed and change into my pajamas, I get this text from my friend, which subsequently led to a trip out in the cold weather at like 1 a.m.
Let's see if they're outside.
Do you want to go outside?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go outside for a real quick sec because it's October 18th and this is the first snow. Only in Hanover, New Hampshire. Underneath the Christmas tree, I just want you on my own, more than you will ever know. All I want for Christmas. So even though the cold is chilling and absolutely discouraging when you have to get up at 7:45 to go to drill, the snow makes it a little better. Then there's the random activities around campus. For example, I went to watch A Star is Born. Again, I went because it was free. And being broke college kids, we will exploit and leech off everything free. And again, it was amazing. You guys should all watch it at least twice. But on the way back, we were deeply inspired by movie watching, particularly The Notebook, that we did this.
You should sit down. You sit.
And then we're gonna sit down. And what happens if a car comes? We die.
That would have been freaking messed up.
Or we can just stare the car down and refuse to move, and everyone can be unhappy and awkward. Get out of the way! Car is moving! What the frick? Dartmouth also really likes to bond floors and houses, so we've had an escape room. And we've had talent shows featuring professors. But none of these extra activities can compare to the biggest tradition of fall, or maybe even the whole year, particularly for freshmen, which is homecoming. Okay, it's the morning of homecoming, and being procrastinators, we haven't gotten a 22 shirt, so now we're getting one, but they're all huge. So I also got this shirt, not from the co-op, but I think this might apparently be the homecoming shirt, the official one. And so it says Ignite the Fire 18F because it's the fall term of 2018. At the back it shows the Dartmouth bonfire with the class year that is running around it in the fire. And this would only happen this year, which is why I got this shirt, because that's the only year where the 22s, which is my class, will be running around the fire. This is our fire, guys. Let me just brief you a little bit about this homecoming tradition that Dartmouth has. So what basically happens is, the biggest part is they build a bonfire in the middle of the green, which is like a field. And the bonfire is super tall. And what they're supposed to do is the freshman year has to run around the fire. The number of laps is dictated by like their graduation year. So I'm the class of 22, so I'm supposed to run 22 laps, or if you're really up for it, you can run 122 laps. But what happened during recent years is that people would jump the fence and like touch the fire, which is obviously a super big like safety hazard. And so because the green isn't owned by Dartmouth, it's actually like town's property, the Hanover residents were really concerned about like the safety of the fire, especially because it's so tall and it's like grass all around, so it's a pretty big fire hazard. And also because people keep jumping the fence and touching the fire, which is even worse. And they actually canceled the fire for this year, but Dartmouth managed to repeal that, making a few compromises. Fence to keep people from touching the fire, check. What happened this year was we had a shorter, stubbier fire. It's like fatter bonfire, check. But apparently the same amount of wood. And the freshman year class is only allowed to walk a lap around in like this really organized manner. So you go in and you like feed out. There's no way for you to even connect. Fence to only allow people to run one lap or walk one lap, check. But nevertheless, even though we had to do those compromises, we still got the fire, which is big win. So in our case, homecoming started by getting ready. And then it's so cold.
Are we? Oh my god.
And we're not wearing anything because we have to. No, it's so cold, and we have to wear our 22 shirts, so we can't even like wear thick jackets. It's less than 0 degrees. Going to the spirit stations.
How many people hope that the bonfire can happen next year? I don't mean to flex. So what does that mean? Very good.
Hey, happy homecoming!
Followed by the sweep, which marched us into the battleground. Oh my god! We're going out! Oh my god, I can't believe we're led by a police car! The sweep's here! What is this? I'm so confused! What is happening? Where are we going? What's up, guys? It's a vlog! Dartmouth 22! Check that! And then we saw the bonfire. Dude, it's so hot! It's so hot right now! Oh my god! Woo! We're doing our little lap around the fire now. We're getting out! We're getting out! That was insane. It was wild. At first, I have to admit, I was really skeptical about Dartmouth traditions because they're super intense and kind of weird. But I'm really glad I got to experience this tradition because this is the only time that the fire will be built for the class of 22. Like literally, there is a 22 in the fire. And this is the only time the class of 22 gets to run, or I guess walk, around the fire and get the spotlight we deserve. So props to us. It felt really special, and I finally felt a really strong bond between like my classmates and literally with the rest of the school. So at the end of the day, homecoming was amazing, and even if you're not coming here, you should come up here just to experience the wildness that is homecoming. And no, nobody touched the fire because we are responsible kids. So 23s, it's up to you to keep the tradition running now, and I'll be watching. See you next time.
This is a cult and I love it.